don't freak out. We're just going to go and play RFactor2 and just fool around, because RFactor2 is really good for just fooling around. It's really good for serious racing, but I'm not. I'm really good at just kind of fooling around. We're using OBS software, which is a free gift to mankind as far as I can tell. Years and years ago, when we were using Amiga computers and other terrible computers, we dreamed that we could use something like OBS. Now it's here to make us happy. It's wonderful. We're looking at the RFactor2 new UI. It's not new anymore. Get used to it. I still see people complaining a bunch. I can't figure out why. The old UI had lots of issues, and this UI seems to be much smoother. People complain about everything. God, do they complain about everything. I look over here on a community, and oh, it's finally gone away. I think computer videos. More. Let's go to more for just a second. That's not how you get to more. That just gives you forum posts. What if you click on one of them? So it takes us to the forum. So let's back up here. Not the recent posts, third party. The reason I'm looking for this is because maybe it's less of a thing than I thought. But it was a thread from a couple weeks back about the physics in RFactor being broken. And maybe it was just stuck in my feed from before. But I thought it was really funny because the first time I'd seen it was a day or two after the original video had dropped regarding the physics of RFactor and how broken it might possibly be. And then this thread popped up, and it grew very rapidly. You know, why don't we just do like that physics thing? Like, we'll just do like a search. That would make too much sense, I understand. I've never, oh, no, it's over here. That's the search window. I've never come here and played in the search. Although it looks like that's similar software. I don't want to do it. Okay, there we go. Search there. Is RFactor2 physics broken? I probably won't find it. Yes, it will. Finds it right away. So, anyways, you can see that there's a whole bunch of replies to it. So I saw it on the original day, and I was laughing to myself because I thought, well, that's a pretty silly question. Is RFactor physics broken? Because they're not broken. They're just pining. They're pining for the fjords. And as the physics, it's really hard to say, particularly for me, because we all know how little the actual physics and setup and all that really synced into my head. But I just thought it was funny because everybody had an opinion as soon as this got posted. The original video was by a YouTuber from Australia he does an awful lot of good videos out there. His name is Ermin Hamidovic, and he's a music producer, all kinds of things. A real smart guy, I think. And so he made a video in regards to the physics, the broken physics of RFactor, and the community. They lost their lunch. So I saw it the first day, and then I saw it a couple of days later, or no, the next day. There's a couple of pages, but I looked today, and there's 42 pages of RFactor2 fans arguing about the physics and the broken nature of it, be it broken or not. Thankfully, I wonder. Okay. See, look at this. We're navigating around the UI and we're having a great time. It's wonderful. Except for this. For some reason, you go to race and it loads to load your favorite multiplayer servers, whether you have any or not. And then it futzes around like that, and it finally lets you get back into it. You can hop into the competition system. I was playing in that before, but oh, they've got all kinds of series. I was originally, you can see here, I'm signed up in the Taurus Winter Series, but I didn't really have enough time for it. I didn't have a couple of the cars that you needed for GT Winter Series, but that's alright, I don't have to race those. The LMP3 series would be a lot of fun. I don't know if those LMP guys are more serious than other people, who knows. I know endurance racing, I think you have to be pretty serious, because if you want to sit there for hours and hours and do something, you get pretty upset if some dickhead come along and crashed you out after 18 hours in a 24-hour race. I don't want to be that guy. And Alpine Cup, because they dropped these new Alpine cars. Did we try those? I don't know. We can, we don't have to. That's the power of sim racing. Anyways, let's get out here and get on with what I was thinking about doing. We were in Kyalami before. I was there and I was fooling around in these McLarens. But what I was thinking about today was not traditional McLaren with lots of downforce and wings, all the stuff you need to go fast and stay on the track. And instead, I was thinking, you got Lola T70. That's one of these things, in case you don't know. Cosworth Ford V8s, 1960s, prototypical kind of race car for a lot of people. They made these and sold them to people who took them to tracks all over the world, basically. So those are fun. They handle really well. The T290 I thought was different, but according to them here, it's that same kind of body shape. I thought that the 290s were something that looked like, I don't know if I have any of those things. Something that looked like that, like a GT40 or something. But the one I'm really curious about are these. We're not even going to go to the Mark III or Mark IIIB, which I assume a Mark III and a 3B would be way better than a Mark I and a Mark II. But we're gluttons for punishment. We'll go to a T70 Spider, so I guess it's going to be an open top. I don't know which one we'll end up picking. It doesn't really matter. 1965 small block 327, 400 horsepower. It's got a Mark III nose on it. I don't know how can I have a Mark III nose when this is a Mark I car. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, that's a nice color. Plum, maybe? And who's that? Ah, Mr. Hobbs. Mr. Hobbs, you could do well to maybe. That's interesting. I can't see how those intakes would be really that good for keeping foreign objects out of your car. But I don't know. Maybe you don't worry about that at really high speeds. These things are diabolical. Let's add some more mirrors for safety. Right now we got no front wing, no rear wing. We got the Mark III nose. Let's change it back to A Mark II nose, I like that. Yeah, whatever. Small block, 327 front horsepower, so this thing should go real good. I don't think it weighs very much. I don't know exactly, but I would imagine that they would try to make them as light as possible. What happens if we change the class to Mark 1.5? Still got a 327. Look at this little wingy thing here. Let's go back to the Mark III one. Oh, we got a wing. So that wing looks guaranteed to cause drag, but it might be some kind of spoiler wing that they found out worked well along with the rest of the car. I don't know. I suspect this thing here at the front is an intake, air intake. Or I don't know. We'll be finding out more. Let's get rid of that wing, because part of the thing about this car I was always amazed by is that this is pretty standard old RFactor2 car. Very well documented history. This is one of the early cars that you would get when you were looking for sim racing. But I've always found it to be, at least in its default form, do a little race with a bunch of them and see what happens. AI strength 87, they have 14 drivers, aggression 100%. We'll see. What I remember about these particular cars is that they seem to go slow, and then they'd be sliding around the track all over the place. And I don't know if that was just a, pardon me, a first lap kind of experience. Let's not go to Kyalami, let's go somewhere else. Maybe we can find some place that'll sort of short, quick, move up fast. We're going to Seika, Ducati, Lester would be fun. If it's got too many corners on it, these cars will have a hard time. Or not really. After the first lap, and the tires start to warm up, it starts to become somewhat rational. You'll see what I mean. What am I thinking? I'm thinking. The more I'm thinking of it, the more I'm thinking. Portimao. What is that? Oh, that looks dangerous for this car. We can go there after. We'll see how it works. Let's go to Oldham. You would think that the Foster's course would be the best. It's pretty quick. The other one's just got those straights, and then that big slow curve at the end, which is fine in regular cars, and these just might be a bunch of cars sliding off the track. We'll try the Foster's layout. And there's a bunch of us, we're in Lola T70 Spiders, and we'll see how it works. My experience from before is that they're really hard to control, and you get punted off the track by the other cars because they're out of control as well. I'm thinking if we stiffen the suspension up and deal with the wings and that kind of stuff, let the air out of the tires a bit, it might get better. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make it so that you can actually drive these ridiculous cars. Where's my headphones? There. Well, this is going to be great. We'll take a look at the setup. There's no setup, it's factory default right now. Now it's telling us that we got 1 and 1 for the front air dam and the rear wing. I don't understand because we said don't put a wing on it. We can mess around with the gears later, but we don't need to do that right away. We got 44 liters, which we don't need. We're doing 5 laps, but we'll take a couple more liters in case something gets stupid. I'm not worrying about the brakes right now. Total force 72. Balance is 50%. Let's just see what happens. Yeah, nothing happened there in the aerodynamics. What do we do? Change the fuel? We should always check the fuel before you go anyway, so we won't worry about it. Click on drive. We're away. Now, if I can just sort of discipline myself to behave for lap 1. We've taken over our custom position at the back, but this is, as we've learned, is a very good place to be because we can watch everybody else go flying off the track. This car feels like if you give it too much gas, it's just going to spin itself in circles, which is good. So logically, you just stay off the gas a little bit. But then you're not really using all the power you possibly could because you're arguing with the car about staying in control. Just show a little bit. I'm already going too hot in the car. Look at that. See what I mean? So, exit back to monitor, and we can't even do the wings thing. See, look at this foolish thing bouncing up and down. Let's go full screen. We'll go back here, right to the start. And it's rolling backwards. Yeah, get on it. Okay, so we're on the gas right now, so the nose is up in the air. Get on the brakes, the nose dives, but at least you can steer. Hunted by somebody else. And now, as I say, we're at the back of the pack, getting ready to watch everybody else crash. It's a beautiful track. There's one victim there. At this moment, we were still happy. We were thinking that this was going to be good. Well, we'll see what happens in a second. Once we're moving and we see a long shot of the car, you can see just how much it's bouncing up and down. Did you see the reaction there to going through that little bump coming up the hill? We'll come off the track here in a second. Well, we got past that guy. And oh yes, we came into this way too hot. Yeah. And goodbye, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. All right. Move down here, and you do this anti-full screen thing. Now, I can't change that wing unless we go back and change it when we're loading the car. So let's go put wings on it. We want to exit the system in. This is a little bit awkward. I wonder if there's a different way to do it. You have to go to the car menu and then customize. And here. I'll bet you there's a better way to do this. So we'll give it, what were we saying? It turns in easy? Let's put a little wing on it. We can always go and remove like great big things on it. I don't know if that's necessary. could make it worse. So we have that wing there. It seems very primitive. Well, this is 1965 or 1967, so it should be pretty primitive. Firestones are Goodyear. The different might be. Oh, it's the. I wonder if the two tires perform any different. We can't tell. I'm not really that sophisticated. We could make our own custom one. That will take way too long. It's over here, and we got wings on it now. Got small wings. We'll see how that feels. Pick that car. And we're here, we already set everything else up, so if we click on race, and then we can start counting to see how long it takes to actually load. Typically with your installation of RFactor, you've got a whole pile of custom tracks, custom cars that you've downloaded. Thanks to all the wonderful modders out there developing these wonderful cars and tracks. But I think RFactor2 has to personally load and check each one every time you load anything. I could be totally wrong. I have no idea. I just like to complain a lot. Go back to setup. We remembered how it felt before. Still telling us it's 7 centimeters in the air there, and it's 9 centimeters in the air there. 96 and 79 for a spring race. Which I can't really say what that means. I guess 79 means really bouncy. 96 means really bouncy. 7,400 RPM. I love V8s that rev at 7,800 RPM. They make such a nice sound. Okay, this time we'll look at the tires as we're driving. Well, try not to crash totally. I don't see all these other guys sporting great big wings and stuff on their cars. Maybe I'm just one of those fancy city boys. Look, come on. And you're not going to get anywhere near to finishing the race. You can't even talk. And then stuff like that happens. Man, that's embarrassing. Okay, let's try again. Just try to make it through the first lap, and hope the AI learns something, and hopefully our tires will warm up a little bit. What temperature we got now? 28 to 41. Oh, those back tires are warming up a lot quicker. We'll just sort of batter our way through the corner. So that's how we roll. Well, you got a wing, eh? How's that work for you, man? Man, this car feels so tentative. It's kind of nice. I'm sure if this was like a Studebaker or something, it would be way worse. And so the people driving these probably thought, man, that's like a pope driving one. It's our first bollard of the race. What are those tires doing? Well, it's alright, they're coming up to speed. Two bollards. Oh, mother! That's the same thing we done on that last one. Just don't do that. Okay, if we can miss that one corner, we get back on track. Yeah, look at that. See, even in disaster, we're learning things. It's magic of racing. And now we have a big open track all to ourselves. We can experiment with new lines. A little bit more space. Saw somebody's camera flash at us. I guess we filled up the frame. They were probably tired of taking those action shots of the whole field in focused in the picture. They wanted just masterful picture. Man mastering his machine. Coming over the top of the hill. It's just the guy to get to him, I guess. First gear? Alright, you know what? These things are 4-speed transmissions. And each gear has a little bit more life. Try and slow down. No, don't go sideways like that. Okay, first gear's are out. Oh, Jesus, this is the worst yet. Woo! Let's try that. No, not reverse. Gotta wait till the engine sort of comes to life. There you go. What's over here? I'll bet you there's like an invisible wall. Goes. Yeah, see, we kind of do that with that. Back up. We don't want that to happen. Okay, we'll go back to the monitor. Let's look at our setup. We have to do this. So restart the race. Close this. And we're in setup. Go to the tires. Traditional RFactor2. Take all the air out of them. This only makes a difference to truly fast guys. For people like us, this is really silly. We don't have to do this. 17 laps. We don't need that much fuel. Weight distribution. I haven't really thought about how that feels yet. Steering lock, 28 degrees, weight distribution, blah 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 blah. Suspension. Okay, let's what we got. It's between 79 and 131. Oh, we know what one way feels like. Let's leave this here and then just stiffen up the back of it. Is it going to 120? So see, the white one is the default. 2 clicks. 14. Let's try 3. It's going to be pretty stiff, I think. Let's see how that feels. Problem is, we're still on the track with all these idiots. That could have been an illegal pass. I'm not certain the marshals are going to let you keep that one. Okay, instead of going there, get into first gear is the worst. Maybe first gear is too low in this car. It isn't really. It's you're not supposed to put your car in first without revving the engine first. This car is it's It's faster than it feels. No, that's not right. It's faster than is controllable. That's better. Or it's easy to make it go faster than you want it to. Well, that was a first gear downshift. I was lucky there. Lock up. Now, why did it not respond? Is it because that roll bar is so stiff now at the back? No, that doesn't make sense. Very gentle kind of input. This is no good for a race car, though, I don't think. Unless maybe I'm driving it like a little baby. Maybe I've got to be like way more out of control. The tires aren't really hot yet. See, we just pushed it a little bit too much. Goes through those corners pretty nice. It really has a hard time slowing down. I wonder if we put more brakes in the back. I don't know whether it work or not. First gear downshift, we were lucky. I'm sure there's probably a whole lot of discussion about how to get this car to behave properly, but that would entail doing some basic research. And it's unfortunately just beyond me. I don't know if that's the way you're supposed to drive that. Sort of point it at a corner and then coast and pray. Second gear, oh, it's amazing. Maybe it's not, probably not going that fast. Missed that bollard. You thought you were finished, didn't you? Yeah, it's kind of a heel and toe kind of a thing. That's wicked. You come over the top of the hill there and you wait for it to go one way, but it's got to sort of hook up the other way first. Oh my goodness. I must add though that this was just a lot of fun. This is quite challenging. I find it hard to believe that they would be like this in real life, as diabolical as this. I kind of like the idea of it. I like the idea that there would be somebody crazy enough. Oh yeah, I'll get in. He said it'll be 200 miles an hour. So there's a part of my brain that admires that there's members of the human race that do something as ridiculous as all that. This is our last lap, so we haven't seen the rest of the pack for a while. I can only assume that they all crashed into a flaming wreck. It's easier for me to believe that than to admit to myself that, well, they're all real race car drivers. You are a poor imitation. I could be maybe a good chauffeur. I don't know. Well, I think that we made it a tiny bit better. than when we started off with, but it's still pretty suspect. And I don't know, we could try doing it. Almost finish this. Let's finish this lap here, and then we'll take it back to the setup one more time. Drop it down on the ground. Do a little bit more. Oh, we haven't tightened the suspension up yet, have we? We did that roll bar, but the springs are still nice and bouncy. Okay, so let's get out of there. We're 79. 230. Well, let's try that. And now both. The back end is going to be really tight now. Well, we didn't do nothing with the spring. We were doing the wrong thing. That's way lower. So I'm going to do that. Tighten that. I don't know yet on these bumps if this just. So this could be, I suspect, how far it can go, and then that's going to be the rate of it. Well, it's terrible whenever I start to think about. Yeah, what the heck. Stiffer is better, right? I don't know if that's true. Look at these names. Bob Bondurant. This guy won so many races, so influential. Which Cheatham, I don't know who that is. Jackie Stewart, I think, is probably maybe one of the most famous racing car drivers of all time. And what else we got here? Oh, Brian Padden. This guy is down in the record books as one of the slowest drivers ever. But he doesn't give up. And he's got lots of character. Let's save this. And we're going to pretend like we're serious guys now. There we go, come back to here. We're going to save our new setup. We're going to call it Doug. Because nobody names their kid Doug anymore, I don't think. So we're using the setup on our T70 called Doug. Okay, Doug, let's do a lap and see if it's making any. Oh no, we didn't do everything yet. We're going to slam it down on the ground. What is this? Oh, right there. Ride height, 7 centimeters. Okay, yeah, the lower 5.4 is still. I don't know. We'll find out. I don't think we'll be bottoming out. That might be very scientifically set, but we have little or no understanding of science. Okay. Well, I have to save it again. Back to here and to save. Doug. We're going to win the race now, right? Okay, I don't think we're going to win the race. Let's see if we can keep up with them. You know, I gotta say, it's still got that kind of moves the back end kind of feeling, but it's not anywhere near as bouncy as what it was. second that. Oh, mother! It's a very nervous car. We're gonna have to do some laps and something a little bit more civilized after this. We're doing a better job of keeping up. Okay, now forget that I said that, because as soon as we say something like that, well, then everything goes to hell. We wish we were driving that balloon that's hanging up in the air over there. Feels more controllable, kind of go through there in second. It's kind of slow though, I think. It's such a ridiculous, terrifying view. Accelerate because there's like a crowd in front of you. It's be fine though. There's a corner there. And it's wicked. You go one direction and it's got the counter steer. Right here is another one right there. And this, and then it wants to go all the way. That's diabolical. And the top of the hill up here is also diabolical. Oh, Jesus. The guy in the balloon is probably like, what is that fool in 15th place doing? Doesn't he know that the physics in RFactor2 is broken? They don't really feel broken to me. They feel, my favorite word, diabolical. Devil-like. This corner always feels like a jump. It takes a fair amount of nerve to drive this thing effectively. You've got to be on the gas and driving it. The idea of brakes and corners don't really seem to have too much in common. Whereas throttle and sort of subtle applications of throttle is what's keeping you on the track. If we were right in the middle of the pack, that would all be very thrilling. Finish up the third lap, so 2 more laps. I think we'll see the other cars again? I don't think so. I appreciate the bumpy thing. It gives it that sort of out of control feeling we all crave. Throttle. That takes some commitment. If you don't commit, you go off. If you drive through it, you have a chance. I guess that's commitment too. You have to commit to that corner sort of before you can even see it. And this is more just jump on the brakes and brake. Get off the brakes so you don't slide into the corner. And I'm going to finish this lap. Okay. Just watch a replay of that. Let's just watch the start. So that was the good part, when you can see all the different cars. After 2 laps, the rest of the cars are gone. So we press this, and we press this. And we press that. Oh, there's the start right there. I haven't fooled with the cameras in this too much yet. So we're just looking at a standard. I think this is the RFactor2 TV camera, which is cool. There was my first bollard, and the pack is gone. I've pretty much effectively lost the race there after turn 1. But this is a lovely view. You can see just the rolling nature of this track, which is part of the fun, because there's typically a piece of ground falling away or climbing straight up in the air, and they put a corner on it. Throw a couple of bumps in the setup for the corner, and it's a very exciting kind of experience. And they're all off. Boom, boom. Bounce, 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 bounce. I think with all that stuff that we hung off the car, we didn't even get around to the big wings or anything. But it felt a lot better, especially towards those later laps. We could kind of attack into the corners rather than just like that corner right there. That's ridiculous. I might as well be in Saskatoon, sliding along in my pickup truck through an intersection or something. Beautiful cars though. They must have been thrilling. Really thrilling things to be driving around. They would have been noisy as heck. The engine right behind your head howling away. What happens if we skip ahead here? It feels like there's a series of jumps separated by corners and fast straights. Okay, well that's enough of that. Let's go back to the parking garage. And we had a good time with that. They were doing 108s, we were typically doing 111. We were working on development. So it's something different than what you might imagine. Let's reward ourselves. There's something nicer to drive around in. Not nicer. That's a very nice car. It's from 1965. I don't know if this is really applicable for that track, but these are really nice to drive around too. I know. Here's the reward. Get one of these. Any particular one? It's not the purple one. They're kind of funny looking, you know. They're certainly a supercar. They're beautiful. One of the most advanced cars that they've ever put in the showroom. But they're still kind of funny looking. Let's try that. And we'll race against GTR. Let's race against something that won't beat us so easily. None of those. Remove that and load a whole field full of beautiful GT3 cars from various Studio 397 GT3 products, which are all really nice. I'm getting interested in using a bunch of different skins on them now. Okay, so that's our opponents, the GT3s. We're in the Senna. We should almost not even. I don't know, let's do it, see what happens. Hopefully I won't embarrass myself. Splash of coffee. Hey, I can do that thing. I'm still pretty terrible at using OBS, but I'm slowly learning. Before too long, I had all kinds of things flying across the bottom of the screen, all kinds of weird stuff going on. Maybe. Okay, well, we're still at Old Park. We're still on that same Foster's course, without the extended pieces that go down to, I don't know if there's a lake down there, or it's around the edge of the lake, whatever. And we're in the Senna, which we would never even get to sniff the seat of one of these in real life. This is a bit of a different experience than those other cars. I somehow feel more competitive. This thing really shifts. I'm actually cheating, I think, by driving it because these GT3s can't. They don't have the same kind of acceleration. But they're being driven by competent drivers. Yeah. Sorry about that, buddy. My dad bought me this. Daddy doesn't like to lose. No, the problem though is this could make you overconfident. Can you imagine in real life doing this, man? You've got a car, it's worth multiple millions of dollars, and you're on a track with all your buddies. Each one of their cars is also worth a ridiculous amount of money. And even despite the fact that you have no idea really how to drive properly, you just push down on the accelerator pedal and it does this thing. I don't know how active the wing is in this mod. I know in real life wing is moving itself and adjusting itself dynamically depending on the your driving conditions. If you're getting on it, or whether you need to go away a little bit. This is just tremendous fun. I hope I can stay on the track so we can have a nice replay. So what else? Here, McLaren's. Let's see, Advantage. I kind of want to pass all these cars. I don't want to cause an accident. That's good. Nice. I was watching a video on YouTube of Guy Martin doing a lap on a 600cc motorcycle around Isle of Man. And I think it was a particularly friendly or famous lap. But it was a wonderful piece of footage because it was the whole thing with him talking away and just muttering away in his own unique cadence, talking very nonchalantly about chasing around the Isle of Man. Perhaps it was a record-setting run, I don't know. I'll have to look at it again. And so he's passing the other motorcycles that took off in front of him. 10 seconds in each case. There's 10 seconds between the riders. So I'm watching it, and I saw him pass like 3 different guys. Then he caught up with them, and they started off ultimately 30 seconds in front of him. But it was quite thrilling. And he was just talking about it, about how he gets lost all the time halfway through the race. Can't remember what lap he's on, what corner he's on. And yet this is one of the guys fastest in the world, right? We made it to the... Look at that. 5 laps, we didn't crash. We didn't come in last. The AI, you know, it's not like they're Fred Flintstone AIs, right? They're good old legacy AI from RFactor2. But I think it's down to the strength of this McLaren Senna. This car is just wonderful. It's a kind of a cheater car, I think. Advantage is pretty nice too. So we'll just head back to the pits. I'm thinking these guys go back to the pits. Good little disciplined race car drivers. I think so. Except for him. Thanks, buddy. Doing $700,000 damage. Where's our lollipop guys? What the hell? Did we drive past them? Probably. Wouldn't be the first time. It was lots of fun. So not all cars handle like those Lolas. The Lolas are pretty exciting though. Get back to the start of this. Let it go. There you go, boys. That's onboard TV. Onboard? Yeah. That's where they tape a camera on the dashboard. Very dramatic though. Nice. The swingman is that chase behind there. You can move it further back. don't know. That's that spectator mode. I gotta learn more about that. This was our mode. This is the driver's on board. Trackside kind of TV looking camera. That was nice. We probably could have been in a higher position if we hadn't done that. I don't know what our lap time was. We could probably, if we were good, do it about 30 seconds faster. But that felt good just after struggling with that Lola T70 so much. So this makes you feel like, well, there is hope. It's like if you're a guitar player and you think you're doing pretty good, but then you start listening to somebody that's really, really good, and it's like, just take my guitar, throw it out here in the street. Maybe some homeless person will find it and make good use of it. I was ready after that Lola experience to just take my cars and simulate a rig and just leave it out in the street. Maybe some homeless person would like my simulator rig. But a few laps in this Senna, and then I'm good to go again. You know? I feel pretty good. Boy, that's a nice looking car. That's the guy behind me. That's me. And that's beautiful BMW is what that is. That's a lovely looking car. I'm way back there. That's me. I'm looking for the guy that has to... I thought we said don't have a bunch of McLarens in this race. They didn't listen. Well, they're beautiful anyways. Okay, happy McLaren Day.